How's it going? Ready? I fell in love. This is a series of letters and what they inspired. My experiential remix. I know you're angry. I am too. This won't work if we don't do it together with good intentions. I trust you enough to have told you the truth about my feelings. This happens to a lot of people if you ask them. Most simply choose to let the person go and move on, including me. I can't do that this time. The times in my past were practice for you. I had a tough time growing up in my conservative hometown. The first time I fell in love was in high school, and it led me to attempt suicide multiple times. The rest of the bottle of Tylenol PM, the thought of jumping off the bridge near my house as I walked to get more. A friend pulling me back in the car as I attempted to throw myself out. And at prom, I had taken so many drugs that I woke up in soaked boxers from my friends hosing me off. People don't realize how tempting it is for gay teens to kill themselves. We have 4 times the suicide rate. I wound up in the mental side of the hospital. It was the first time I saw my dad cry. My mom thought it was her fault, and my sister didn't know it had happened. I was released after a few days by holding adamantly that everything was fine. Through the next 6 years, I fell in love 3 more times. It was equally awful each time. Still, I kept my feelings inside. I was socially forced into loveless relationships with a gender I had no attraction to. Wake up, I thought. Wake up, Tate. Begging for mercy. How can I believe in you? Forced to rape myself to please a God I do not understand in a country that's not supposed to be ruled by religion or hateful zealotry, and knowing how I should react, but being unable. I must find peace with you. In my mind, I would lose everything and everyone I loved over something I could not control. We met in 2008. I unknowingly faced my biggest fear. We traveled, enjoyed similar music, and went disco shopping to each other's playlists, bumping loud music in the supermarket or anywhere with our headphones on. We did everything. Discussions about life, the pros and cons, whether you'd give up dairy or gluten or eaten by a shark or mauled by a grizzly bear. I always went with a shark. You were with me when my dog died, and at the Montana Pride events, you had more glitter than I did. I found my middle ground. It'll still take work from both of us to see it through. We sometimes say hurtful and thoughtless words, jeopardizing the emotional weight we hold for each other. I know we're not in a relationship, but please understand that this is very common. There are over 81 million search results for I'm gay and in love with my straight best friend, including mine. Most will tell you it's not that simple and move on from the impossible situation. I'll still get sad if I'm having a bad day and you won't help. There was no false hope. I never expected you to feel the same. Instead of keeping it in, I decided to trust you. No one can control who they love. I had no way around. When you love something, you fight for it. I know this is difficult, and I'm so sorry. You stuck with me. You tempered me. You broke me through my worst, and now I want to give you my best. I could never willingly let you go. We need to change things, though, and be more accountable for each other's well-being. At the time, you lived in an affectionate place with a group of our friends we called the Compound. It was the base of our family's operating. We worked together, producing events throughout the region with the hope of our own sustainability. At work, I had to be a boss, and it resonated through our friendship. You'd already been talking about moving into a place on your own, and finally, I asked you to commit, with the idea that the Compound would become a neutral space where we were equal. You yelled that we weren't in a relationship and told me you were leaving. I was selfish. I pleaded for you to stay, a second chance, forgiveness. You stayed, but with a constant reminder you were ready to go. New walls and boundaries, the screaming match in your car saying encouragement was too much to ask of you, and the day you said you may never forgive me. I had asked you to commit to the move to avoid the exact heart-crunching moment that had happened to me time and again. The one thing I always come back to is bringing people together, a hopeful Gatsby. In high school, I threw the biggest party of the year. Cars clogged the cul-de-sac, blocking the road to my house. And in college, I threw a party so big that our floor broke, And a kid I formerly mentored crowd surfed across our living room. It's how I coped with repression. In 2011 and 12, I helped produce the Montana Pride events. Reluctant at first, I smoked weed, hang out with straight guys, and listen to hip hop. Where did I fit in? Growing up, it was a stereotype I had hated, but what I found was an extraordinary culture of love there, a vulnerability and confidence that I thought had been socially misrepresented. By 2013, I hit my stride and was ready to lead the next progression, taking everything I had learned and plugging it in. Interchange was born. It's therapy. That's my obsession. It's difficult, but I'm there. I made it. It was beautiful and represented us so well on every front. Our experiential remix, we just threw the best celebration for it. We were brothers with a business together. We'd spent years creating Interchange, an experience that would celebrate that kind of friendship. I took a loan out, and you quit the week before it even happened, leaving me so angry I called you a coward. How could I be friends with someone so unforgiving and who could do such a thing? It's not even because you left. I just I hope you understand the fallout of the blow you delivered. It was the first time I was honest about my life, and all I wanted was to get us through it. You could have offered any other idea than giving in, left for any other reason or opportunity, and I'd still be your biggest fan. Instead of tallying the failures, I only wish we could find it in ourselves to forgive each other. I'm dizzy, I'm gonna be sick. How could we be so misunderstood? I was being punished by the very thing that inspired our creation, when all I wanted was your forgiveness and for you to be proud of me. I know I let you down and the trust we built was betrayed. You got it the worst from me. I hope you're okay and I'm sorry. All I can do is better. But my cause is too great. My mission's set. I'm all in, exposed in every way. An activist, a 2-year knee injury, the debt I'm facing, religious rhetoric, and getting over this with him. In a world that oppresses me, I wonder, what's the price of being an individual and finding my elusive self-worth? If I could choose to be straight, I wouldn't. I will not buckle. We preach tolerance, but who wants to be tolerated? I get to live through my own civil rights movement, be hated for who I am and loved all at once. It's incredible. Interchange is a festival inspired by a series of chaos and imperfect moments. We've all got closets, stories, and social trauma. The profiled, the homeless, veterans, rape victims, being gay, being bullied, or telling someone you may die. We've all got it. It's the alternative to pushing away for fear of unacceptance. We included racism, human trafficking, and the LGBT movement, and had conversations like Christianity and sexuality, drag shows, a leadership summit, and our confessions area, a secluded Step 1 booth, allowing people to talk on camera and speak freely for the first time. We fused it with parades, hip hop, and garden parties. This year we're taking it further by adding women's rights, homelessness, and veterans, and tackling the social trauma that ties it together. We're concluding it with a garden party featuring gospel music, mimosas, and brunch to digest the weekend. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, make mistakes, and to forgive. This pulse, that beat. This is my church. We curate and nurture a space that challenges social trauma. Why live in fear? Why not fix it? Turning apathy, fear, and anger into curiosity, education, and empathy. In a world craving authenticity, it's like saying, hey, come hang out was a social cure. But it has to sustain itself. This has to feel like something. Reading about it and watching it will only take it so far. Like a kid with extension cords plugging people and concepts together, I have to capture this moment perfectly. Last year while promoting Interchange, one of the videographers said he was gay out loud for the first time ever, as if a light had appeared, the first domino. He's patient with me through this. If the experience hadn't happened, we may not have met, and Interchange may not exist. We started in bromance and have pinned together ever since. I love his smile and his gray eyes. He's just as curious and terrified as I am. We collided through the chaos and found common ground. We're gaining the confidence to hold hands, dance in public, and freely express ourselves. And I feel home whenever I'm around him. Skating on ice, I may slip, but I'm constantly moving forward. I was angry. I feared the thought of my peers knowing me and rejecting me. You don't need to explain how everything's changed. I'm just like you. I find myself in this generation's civil rights movement. The problem is deep, and the key to it is love and the social experience. This is our time. This is our social revolution, and we need an army. Politics alone will not solve this. We have an opportunity to heal a nation. From Churchill, never give in. Never, never, never. And nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in. Accept to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of oppression. This experience is a symptom, a statistic of a social injustice. But I survived oppression with the hope of love. And as we stand together and fight for equal rights, we look to one another for strength, support, and power in numbers. Now, as the tide turns our way, there's no turning back the power of history. With love and tears to all those who have suffered before us, just wanting to be treated equal. Listen closely. You are not sick. You are not a criminal. No more apologizing. No more hiding between pride and shame. We have to change us. Great moments rise from great opportunity. And if we fall, we'll rise again, because punishing failure only limits innovation. This is a social investment, and we risk the wages of obsession, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and acknowledging that our greatest fear is what we want most. Like a kaleidoscope, we find the wonderfully complex gray area and smother ourselves in it. The wildflowers. If we invest in social experience and develop empathy into our leaders, into everyone, we all learn, we all win. A sustainable business that's socially responsible. Our taxes put to good use because we invest in our social fabric. We stick with it. We change the world. There are more ways now than ever to tell a story resting at everyone's fingertips. The social experience is everywhere, and it's time we evolve it through events, internet channels, science, engineering, and the way we run business. A TED Talk. This is humanity's cry for help through the peak of the millennial tide into the social renaissance of the 21st century. We've got to start somewhere. I'm Tate Chamberlin, and I'm here to recruit you.